Once upon a time in a lush green forest lived a hare. The hare was the fastest animal in the forest. He would often boast about his speed, challenging anyone who dared to question his abilities. One day, while the hare was taking a leisurely stroll through the woods, he came across a wise old tortoise. The tortoise, known for his calm and composed nature, had a reputation for being slow but steady. The hare, with his usual arrogance, mocked the tortoise's slow pace, saying, "Hey, you're so slow that if I wanted to, I could easily outrun you." The tortoise, unfazed by the hare's taunts, calmly replied, "Speed isn't everything, my friend. Sometimes it's better to be slow and steady." The hare, taken aback by the tortoise's response, couldn't help but laugh. "What do you mean by that? I'm faster than anyone here. If we had a race, I would leave you in the dust." The tortoise, with a knowing smile, said, "Very well, let's have a race. But instead of just saying that I'm slow, let's prove it." The hare, confident in his abilities, readily agreed. "All right, let's race to that big oak tree at the edge of the forest. The first one to reach it wins." The tortoise nodded, and so the race began. At first, the hare shot off like an arrow, leaving the tortoise far behind. He glanced back and saw how small the tortoise looked from where he was. The hare started to get cocky and slowed down, thinking that there was no way the tortoise could catch up. Instead of running, he decided to take a little nap under a shady tree. After all, he had plenty of time before the tortoise would arrive. The hare lay down, closed his eyes, and drifted off to sleep. Meanwhile, the tortoise continued to move forward, albeit at his slow and steady pace. He didn't rush, he didn't stop. He just kept moving. As the sun began to set, the hare woke up from his nap and realized that he had slept longer than he intended. He stretched, yawned, and then started to run towards the finish line. When he turned to look for the tortoise, he noticed that the distance between them had shortened considerably. The hare panicked. He had never seen the tortoise move so quickly before. Adrenaline surged through him as he pushed himself to run faster. However, despite his best efforts, the tortoise managed to reach the oak tree first. The hare arrived a few minutes later, panting and exhausted. The tortoise, calm and composed as ever, turned to the hare and said, "I told you, speed isn't everything. Sometimes it's better to be slow and steady." The hare, humbled by his defeat, apologized for his arrogance and asked the tortoise to explain what he meant. The tortoise, with a gentle smile, began to share his wisdom. "My dear hare, in life, it's not always about being the fastest or the strongest. Sometimes it's about being consistent and persevering. You may be blessed with natural talent and abilities, and that's great. But those who succeed in life aren't always the most talented. They're often those who work hard, stay focused, and don't give up easily. You see, I knew I couldn't beat you in a race, not because I doubted my own abilities, but because I knew your strengths. So instead of trying to match your speed, I did what I do best. Move forward slowly, but steadily. I never stopped, never made excuses, and never looked back. And that's how I won." The hare thought about the tortoise's words. He realized that his arrogance and complacency had led to his downfall. He had underestimated the power of perseverance and consistency. From that day on, the hare became a changed animal. He still loved to run, but he no longer boasted. He understood that true success wasn't about being the fastest, but about staying committed and never giving up. And so the story of the hare and the tortoise became a part of the forest lore, a reminder for all the young animals that slow and steady wins the race. Meanwhile, the tortoise continued to live his peaceful life, a symbol of tranquility and perseverance for all who knew him. Here are some more interesting stories from this channel that you might enjoy. Have you ever tried to catch a cloud? Of course you have. We all do it when we are bored. Have you ever wondered why clouds float in the sky? It is because they are very light. Clouds are made of tiny water droplets or ice crystals that are suspended in the atmosphere. These droplets or crystals are so small and light that they can float and drift around in the sky. Have you ever wondered how plants grow without food? Plants are living things, just like animals. They need food to survive and grow. However, unlike animals, plants cannot make their own food. Instead, they rely on sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide to create their food through a process called photosynthesis. This allows them to grow and thrive without needing to eat. One day, deep in a dark and dank cave, a tiny glow appeared. It was small and weak at first, but as time passed, it grew brighter and brighter until the entire cave was filled with an ethereal light. The source of this magical glow was a small firefly who had accidentally flown into the cave and gotten stuck. Being a small creature with no way out, he began to panic. His heart raced as he desperately searched for a way out. But the cave was dark and damp, and the only light came from his own faint glow. Fearful and alone, the firefly started to lose hope. He felt trapped with no way out of his dark prison. As the days passed, the firefly's glow began to dim. It was a small, faint light in the vast darkness of the cave. But miraculously, it refused to go out. Even as the firefly grew weaker and weaker, his tiny light persisted, flickering like a candle in the wind. The tiny fly continued to flicker his light, even as his body grew weaker. And although it seemed like a futile gesture against the overwhelming darkness, his light served as a beacon of hope. Then one day something incredible happened. A small crack appeared in the cave wall, and through it the firefly saw a sliver of sunlight. Hope surged through him as he realized that this small opening might lead to freedom. With a final burst of energy, the firefly flew towards the light. It was a long and arduous journey, but the firefly's determination kept him going. Finally, he emerged from the cave and into the bright sunshine. The world was filled with color and light, and the firefly felt free. From that day on, the firefly's light shone even brighter. He had faced fear and darkness, and through it all, his light had remained a symbol of hope and resilience. His story became a beacon for others, showing them that even in the darkest of times, a small light can make a big difference.